and welcome to this week's episode. Today we're going to be taking a second look at a very special vintage Fender Telecaster. I sold this guitar about a year ago to my friend Andrew up in Canada, and I got the opportunity to buy it back. So I figured, you know, some of you may not have seen this guitar before, and I think I can do a much better video this time around. Today we're going to go over some of the unique features on this one, and of course take a listen and see how it sounds. It does have an upgraded bridge, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So this is a 1975 Fender Telecaster, and this is one of the most played guitars I have ever owned. You can see it's got tons of play wear going on and lots of checking and all the vintage mojo. But you can see on the front here, this has an old F-labeled Fender Bigsby on it. And it still is a question, though, as to whether this was a factory Bigsby guitar, because it does have string-through holes in the back. And typically with a factory Bigsby guitar, you would not have that. Either way, it's a pretty cool feature on this guitar. Now, I will say a year ago when I had it, it was an issue for me to keep this thing in tune. And my friend Andrew put this Mastery bridge on here, and this is just a super high quality piece of hardware. It intonates perfectly. And now this guitar, I mean, you can really like dive bomb the Bigsby, and it's got no problem. Stays in tune great. So I highly recommend getting a Mastery bridge if you have a Bigsby setup like this. Now, you may be wondering what color this is. This doesn't look like a factory Fender color from the time period. It also looks like it has a matching headstock, which is really funky. That would be extremely rare for this time period. And this color is not what it looks like. So this guitar was originally just a clear-coated natural color. That was something Fender offered in the 70s on Strats and Teles. Basically, Fender went to this really thick kind of plastic paint in the late 60s into the 70s, and you can see that's what's used here on the fretboard, which it's very hard and durable, and I think that's what Fender was going for. There were a lot of necks, especially in the 50s, the maple necks, that would get really worn in, and some were sent back to Fender to have replaced or refinished. This guitar, somehow, whoever played it managed to play into that finish, and yeah, it just goes to show how much this thing was played. But the bodies were finished with this, it's either polyester or polyurethane, I don't know, some people can correct me on that, but you can see it underneath in these areas where the paint is worn. And then my understanding is what was sprayed on top was a, you know, more of a nitrocellulose lacquer kind of paint. So there's, you know, checking in this paint. You can see it on the back. There's some very fine checking going on, just like the 50s and 60s guitars. Now they also sprayed the front of the headstock with this same lacquer because the logo would adhere to this paint better. That's the story as I understand it. So what happens is when you have a guitar that's been played as much as this guitar has, and probably seen a lot of, you know, smoky bars, and it's turned into this kind of burnt orange, brown, amber looking color. And so the paint on the body has aged that way, and on the face of the headstock as well, but not on the rest of the neck. As you can see, it's all pretty much still intact. Now, other than that, it's pretty much a factory 75 Tele. I think maybe one of the pots is replaced with a period correct pot, but the pickups are original. Pick guard, the switch tip is replaced. It's got F tuners on the back. And one interesting Fender fact that you may not know is that the Telecaster stayed a 4-bolt neck into the 70s. Now, there were other variations of the Telecaster that went to the 3-bolt, including, I think, the thin line and the deluxe Telecaster, maybe is what it's called. They went to the 3-bolt design like the Stratocasters did, but for some reason, Fender kept the 4-bolt design on the standard Telecaster. Why Fender did that, I do not know. Maybe some of you out there know the story on that one. So I think that pretty much covers everything that's cool about this guitar. The bad news on this one is that it is a typical 70s piece of ash, and you add a Bigsby on top of it, and this guitar weighs about 9.5 pounds, I think. So it's kind of on the heavier side for me. This wouldn't be one I'd really take out to the gig, but for some people, they don't care. That's awesome. 10-pound Les Pauls, if that's your thing, you know, this won't bother you at all. But yeah, man, I think that pretty much covers it. I'm gonna go ahead and play this thing, go through all the pickup selections on this one, and mess around with the Bigsby as well and see what kind of sounds I can get. I'd love to hear from you guys on this guitar. What do you think about it? The look of it and the tone as well. Drop a comment, that always helps. I'm sure I'll have a few more words to say here at the end. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this thing. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, drop a comment. I would love to hear from you guys on your thoughts about this guitar. If you ever owned a 70s Tele, that'd be cool to hear from you. And what you think about this one. If you dig the look of it and the playwear on it, it's always a controversial topic. But speaking of that, when I first got the guitar and made some videos on it, I called it the Disgusting Caster. And, you know, that kind of upset a few people, thinking that, you know, I was kind of poking fun at the guitar. But actually, this is really what I look for. I love to find vintage guitars that are this played in. They take on a whole different look and different feel that really just can't be replicated. And I think this is the definition of that. To me, it's just so cool, and this is what I look for. When you can look at a guitar like this and really kind of get an idea for who might have played it and what kind of player they were, you know, where the picking wear is here. They were probably, you know, kind of a typical telly chicken picking type of guy. And this arm wear here, either they were really wearing the guitar high up or they were playing it sitting down. So, and then of course the color that the paint has turned into gives you an idea of, you know, this was probably played in a bunch of honky tonks and bars and stuff. So to me, it almost becomes like folk art when you can look at a guitar and understand the history of it and kind of imagine the stories of that guitar. I'm interested in these kinds of vintage guitars, and I try to seek these out and bring you guys the stories of them. So I want to thank you guys again for watching and always being so supportive. If you want to help support, comment, like on the video. That's all it takes to really you know, keep this thing going. So thank you all very much. And I've got a few more cool guitars that I picked up. It's been good picking lately. I found some really cool vintage stuff, and I can't wait to make some more videos and bring these guitars to you guys. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.